What is going on, guys? Today we are looking at Azpilicueta, the 84 right back for Chelsea, and straight off the bat I really wanted him to be a centre back. I absolutely love Azpilicueta as a centre back, and hopefully we do find an informed version that does bring him back into that position. Personally, I think it's Reece James, I want to say, without really knowing straight off the bat with Chelsea, that he is predominantly the right back, if I'm correct, and Azpilicueta hopefully will presume his centre back role, just because he fits more of a centre back than a right back, and it's what I like with a lot of right wings. It's as an example, Mata, I think it was, don't know if it was last year or the year before, was a right wing card. For me, he is a cam through and through on the game. Obviously, people presume different positions. Grealish, no one wants him on the left wing. He, for me, again, is a cam player. That's how he is kind of perceived or is more preferred in FIFA. So taking away the real life aspect of it, I really prefer and very much like Walker, even though is a right back. Again, I really like him as a centre back. Obviously he is a little bit more pacey, so more of a meta centre back, where I think Azpilicueta for me works better as a centre back and kind of gets away with it, especially from the start, a lot more, mainly because he's only got the 67 pace, he's got the defending, the physicals are okay, and balance and agility on this card isn't awful as well as his reactions, which is always quite nice, and then a little bit of passing, 78 short pass, 80 long pass, and we are bringing him into obviously the main team, the Premier League team. We have since actually got rid of him in that role, and we are trying out Semedo, so we are trying all the different players. I just want to go through and kind of go with the budget players. So Azpilicueta right now is currently 5,000 on the Xbox and 4.3 on the PlayStation, so I just want to bring you a kind of whole host, and especially the Premier League. There's not necessarily a set menu right now. Everybody has different formations, everybody is playing with different people, and yes, the meta players are kind of now coming through, which you can see with price tags. We look at Joe Gomez being about 80 to 90k. That for me tells me that he is a good player in that position, whereas we look at someone like Rudiger, he's a good player, but he's not quite that meta player. He's only like 5 to 10k. It just shows you with the price ranges, yes, rating has something to do with it, but not always. We see someone like St. Max, Jota, who was or is extinct, then we know them players are being more popular. Whereas we know with Azpilicueta being 5k, he's a budget player. He could be a sub player. Personally, I would have him as a starting lineup and then replace him in the game if you wanted to do something like that. I wouldn't necessarily use him as a sub to kind of be that impact, unless I am bringing him on as a centre back, and my centre backs aren't amazing as such, and the starter team is a little bit more basic. He has got great links, and I think we'd give him a fair review. He's a 2-star skiller with a 3-star weak foot, 5'10", medium work rates, which I don't really think makes too much of a difference in this game, because predominantly, even if my right back and left backs, I have them staying back, same as the centre backs, they don't venture up front. And obviously with the chem style, I would be looking more at a shadow, if anything. It really gets that pace up, and I think that's what's going to really boost this card in my opinion. And obviously it will give a bit of defending. You could at the start definitely get away with an anchor. Obviously that gets a bit more physical up, but then decreases the pace. Pretty much it gets mainly the same defending. There is a couple of pluses, but for me I think it's mainly the decrease in pace and then the extra bonus of getting some physical, that the anchor is kind of a nice chem style. For me, I would probably go all out shadow just to get him that pace, because you don't want to waste a shadow card even if they aren't that expensive this year so far. But I think at the moment you could get away with an anchor, because some people are not using the greatest teams. It all depends what division you're in. If you're in division 4, 3, 2, 1, more than likely you've got a better team. If you're in below a division, then sometimes yes, you may not have the greatest team, or the ability of your playing FIFA at the moment with a fresh game. And I know last year I really struggled with actually getting to grips with the actual kind of gameplay of it. This year not too bad. I think I found my rhythm a little bit more, a little quicker, so I can kind of use these sort of players and realize it's manual defending, just jockey him back, don't bring him forward. But without further ado, let's get into some gameplay. So with Azpilicueta, for me, he is the standard the solid centre back, and I'm going to use him as a centre back point of view as well as a right back. For me, right back, again, you've got to use exactly how you use him as a centre back. Don't rush into tackles, don't go flying in, because even though he has cracking defending, he will get caught and his pace is not good enough to recover. If you're going against someone like Jota or Dembele or Mbappe, they are going to absolutely rinse him. So for me, it's stepping back, making them tackles count, using his physicality, and really just stepping up to the mark and passing it out. Don't ever get caught with him as a less paced centre back. Definitely want to keep that kind of cool with him, keep that rhythm. So going into the overall review then for Azpilicueta, as you can see on Futbin, 5k, 4k, 5k on PlayStation. In real life, I really like these kind of things. 3 matches, 1 assist, 1 yellow, 2 sub-ins. Obviously, it must mean that he's being a sub player if anything now, having a starting lineup. Injuries, red cards, all of that can definitely sway him to really being put on the pitch more. And you got to remember, in FIFA, you don't necessarily have to be playing well in real life to actually get a special. Sometimes they come in non-performance based informs or special promos, so that's always a nice thing to have with him. Obviously, he has had a relatively okay career and does or can produce a flashback. Obviously, we hopefully should see him as a centre back then. And as we see in the generations, last year as a right back, we had a centre back in FIFA 18 or in FIFA 19. In fact, really enjoyed that card. And then we had it also in FIFA 18. And then obviously he was a left back, centre back, left back. He has had a pretty good career. Like, he's gone back all the way to FIFA 10. Obviously this only goes to FIFA 10, so I wouldn't be able to comment on FIFA 09, but I always like this kind of feature to see basically where he's come from and where he's actually gone. And he's had a relatively good career. He is, how old is he? He's 31, so he's coming towards the end. Maybe this is the last year for Chelsea, maybe another year. There is chance of obviously going into a lower division, going to the MLS, and it seems like that prolongs a career and really kind of, I don't know, just finishes off with what he can do. I personally can't comment on in real life performances because I don't particularly watch Chelsea too much, whereas obviously if you're down below, let me know what you think of Azpilicueta. If you're a Chelsea fan, I'm talking to you, Dylan, then just let me know what you think about him. Link wise, obviously Kepa, who wouldn't link as a right back, but centre back wise, Alonso, other side, really wouldn't really put them into the team really. We have got some really good icons. Xavi, a new one this year. We've got Butragueno, you could bring back to a CDM if you're changing your team around. Puyol, Herrero, Torres, a brand new one that could be in a Chelsea past and present. Obviously Guardiola as well. And then we've got obviously the Chelsea players. We know who they are basically. And then as we go forward, special cards as well. Prem team, La Liga, you got plenty of links with him. Being a Spanish link, he's always got that option. And overall, not a bad player at all. If we was looking at an anchor chem style, you can see the kind of where he's preferred. 88 rated as a centre back. We go with a shadow, does drop it down to an 87, but you can see it adds that pace, and I think that could be the kind of clincher right there. Anchor will just give him that really nice kind of rounded physical, and then obviously you want to be careful still with him. Even with a shadow, you don't really want to be rushing in. I feel like it still won't feel like he can recover amazingly, but hopefully we'll have the strength and the defending to really back it up. And even as even an anchor still only goes up to an 85 right back. For me, centre back is where to go with him. Swap him out, sub him in, whatever you have to do. That is the position I'd go for. And to be honest, there isn't really many budget centre backs right now. There is a few lower rated with a good pace, but they don't have the defending that Azpilicueta offers. And this year, right backs, I think we've got an abundance. Trent being obviously the highest rated. We've got Pereira, who looks quality, but again, 81-76. We've got Walker with a really nice pace. Cancelo has always got nice pace but no defending. Semedo is one that I'm really going to try because I'm very interested to see. And Wan-Bissaka, obviously, another great one. But hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.